see the outside, but white lies turn to purple elephants. How many times will I have to tell you it? I hope you know how to live with it, cause it's not going away. Don't try, don't try, don't. White lies turn to purple elephants. Don't try, you'll become irrelevant. You can't train a purple elephant, give it a name and try to lock it away. But how can I take you seriously? You live with purple elephants. You think I'm being dramatic, it's the habit that'll drive you away. Yeah.
Hello there, and you are there, and I am here, and I didn't expect to be making this video, but here we are, Killin time 26. This one, I'll apologise in advance, is a bit of a mess, and I know that before I get into it, simply because it's another split in Luke's army, and another mess, which just raises more questions. We do, however, have a statement from the new admins of Luke's support page, but we'll go into that a wee bit more because that's a wee bit more lies, a wee bit more misdirection. Clever, well written, but ultimately just a wee bit more lies on top. And I'll go into why. As always, we do have receipts, so let's try and make sense of this one, and we'll get into kind of where it all started. Yes, let's tackle this. So, starting off a wee bit kind of, that like they do in the films 2 weeks earlier, whilst we were recording and making the last update, it'd been brought to my attention that there were a couple of pages on Facebook that were based around the trial transcripts, and they were sharing some videos from me, some videos from Fellowship, who also makes videos comparing the transcripts to Innocence Betrayed, Sandra Lean's and Biggie Bunny Ears book. So follow them. I'll put a link to one of their videos in the video description. Go along and give them a follow and look at some of the stuff that they've compared. If you want to hear someone with a wee bit more of a pleasant voice than me, who doesn't swear every third sentence or whatever when they get going, then absolutely give them a little follow and tell them we sent you. But this page, as I say, was sharing a lot of the stuff that kind of we'll go and share today, and we've been sharing in the past, and as I say, Fellowship have as well. Now, looking at it as well, what we can see is it seems to be run by more ex-admins from the groups. There's a lot of ex-supporters and ex-admins on the page itself talking about the treatment that they've had in terms of being blocked or kicked out of the group for asking for an update, just a couple of things like that. So that kind of took my attention. I'd share my stuff. I have no problem with anybody sharing it. Go ahead, make all the pages you want, share away. But I found it a bit strange, so it was kind of along the lines of thinking that there was obviously more to come. And, well, yes, there is. Now, some of the stuff we'll go into, I believe, involves what we could describe as a new faction in the Luke's army. And that's Sandra's little team that she seems to have cultivated, or people that still trust Sandra. A lot of the pages that have been put up recently are actually looking at the way Sandra has treated the admins that we spoke to, other admins, and kind of going into the treatment there. But as I say, the new faction seems to have sided with Sandra Lean's side of the story. And there's now a war going on about donations and bitching about just who done what to who, and we will go into it here as well. So that's kind of where we're at, and it does, don't get me wrong, there is a certain element that's just tit for tat and these people falling out, but at the end of the day I did predict this was going to happen, so I am going to not only for the vindication, but just to show that these people are not to be trusted going forward. And I will say, just put up here right now, there are a lot of Luke supporters that are now saying, because of what happened, that they are taking a step back and walking away. And I will show one example of that, quite an extreme example, but I will show one of that. So let's get into the conversation, and this is where it'll get a bit messy. So we'll get some screenshots up on the screen, and what we'll do is we'll just have a wee look at this and see where we get lost in this quagmire of back and forth bullshit. So please bear with me as I try and do this in some form of chronological order and make sense of some of this. I'll be honest, I did want to kind of mention the group itself on the last video, but that would involve another 10-15 minutes, and it was too long as it was. And there's a wee part of me I think that kind of forgot as well, even though I was skirting around it whilst I was talking. So as you can see by the post-it, the kind of screenshot I put up there, the screenshot, the post from one of the followers on the Luke Mitchell Justice page. I was blocked for asking a genuine question. A very defensive answer was given to my question, just saying it's poor practice to block someone for asking a question, especially if they wanted support from public. Defo the wrong way to do things, not too pleased, to be honest. And that was, as I say, just kind of one of the examples. There was a reply to it itself as well. Someone, Kath Greenseath, I was treated the same, Gemma. I'd be interested to see how many of this that has happened to good, loyal supporters. Obviously something going on. They should explain it to us all. Now that she had said, yeah, the what's going on, I wonder. Now here we see Danny, which I believe it's not wee Danny. I don't think that's wee Danny. But are you starting to see it now? So this is ex-admins kind of talking amongst each other about the treatment that's been going on that I've been pointing out for quite a while, and I don't know how you can be in the weeds, in the thick of it, and not pay attention and not notice. Just another example, Roddy, who's actually commented on a couple of videos before, we've had a wee back and forth and we've also had some agreements, Roddy, I'm sure, on X, I believe. But anyway, original group creator and admins were kicked out of the group, received horrific threats and abuse for questioning Sandra. I was on the end of it too. A female admin even tried to set me up in Messenger by getting me to answer questions. She then deleted her comments. Unfortunately, I knew what they were up to and I'd screenshot it, which is interesting, Roddy. That's so they were even trying to... I know, again, I know you were quite staunch in your defence of Sandra, especially towards the start of my videos. And again, I'm not going to say I told you so, Roddy, but I do have to a certain degree. At the end of the day, like there is a comment that goes on to say, call me, I don't believe it's me, they're calling dancing with guilters, because people had spoke to me. Now this is something I will say right away before we go any further. The term guilter as well, they've just given someone a name so you can hate it. Why? At the end of the day, you shouldn't have to besmirch someone for being a guilter, so to speak. You should be able to answer to their points. You should be able to argue the point. You shouldn't have to then label them as something so you can just dismiss it. It's a fucking poor way of debating and really, really quite fucking pathetic. But do on, man. If you have to give everybody a name so you can hate them, then it just really shows that you've no real fucking argument to begin with. Like Scott always has to belittle people and call them names and stuff like that, deviants, is always his favourite. I honestly think Scott is probably lying to himself. I'll say this here as well, why not? I don't know if anybody's heard the term of what a chaser, when someone's actually just really probably a wee bit interested in trying something sexually that they're apparently vehemently against. That's Scott for me. Scott's a chaser. He wants a trans woman. That's what you want, Scott.
When you finally suck a cock, all it's going to taste of is relief.
There we go. Anyway, way off point. Sidetracked. Let's go on to where we kind of go from here. Now, what I will say is, with Kath, she is a part of the Sandra faction. She has been defending Sandra, and Sandra's followers are just as unhinged. Some crazy people. I've read a post where someone sent me a post where Sandra had a package that had went missing, and one of her followers actually stated, where is it here? Ian Livingston from Police Scotland trolls your page and caused my parcels to be sent somewhere. Is Ian Livingston from Police Scotland a deceiver and a false witness? Are you on fucking glue? What? That is insane. Are you seriously saying that Police Scotland are stealing Sandra Lean's packages? Jesus Christ. I mean, with Kath as well, with what she had said anyway, there was a whole, back and forth between loads of people. I honestly could go through so much posts, but essentially there was people like Wee Danny piping in, asking, to, fall in line because you could ruin Luke's chances of getting out. And they all went backwards and forwards. They all blamed each other. They all came up with, accusations like Kath had said, Nicola, all the money we sent you, football cards, raffles, party that didn't happen, we all contributed, what did you do with it? Someone had went on to say, I'd like to know also, as I've spent a fortune on donations, buying flyers and stickers to hand out, which, believe me, doesn't come cheap. So even the money that was getting raised for the fund wasn't actually going towards it. People were doing stuff and then being reimbursed. Is that the case? So is there a whole load of people like the Rangers old debt that's just sitting there waiting for money? We got any face painters or news agents? Just seeing Sandra dressed as a tiger now. Yeah, so a lot of them obviously are still Luke supporters, and they will kind of say that as well, which is each to their own, whatever. I don't think they're really, they seem to think that they're figuring out the truth and what's going on behind the scenes, and then totally ignoring every single bit of the information that they have about the case came from these people. It's just fucking baffling. Where do we even go from here, man? This is insane. Let's actually just go through Kath's complete statement that I shared on Twitter. Right, everyone, get settled. Get your popcorn or whatever, or your coffee or whatever it is. Sit down, have a rest those legs. So, in my opinion, Gemma, Nikki and Fiona admins in the Luke Mitchell official group have destroyed any chance of Luke getting freedom. Jem, who is going out with Luke, just let that hang there for a second. How do I know, you may ask? Because my husband heard them talking about it at the last protest, 14th of April 2024. So she has had control as admin, trying to control what people can and can't say. Example, I asked, why did the group not post the podcast of Sandra with Sean Toll? Obviously it raises awareness. I got told by her not to incite drama. WTF? Hi Kath. Someone asked any updates of the case. They all got kicked out, and many more. Sandra had no idea this was happening, but they were quite happy to let everyone think these were Sandra's instructions. Second picture is the one who you all send the money to when raising money for protests and other things. The posters, bookmarks, it all needs paid for. The money does not go to Sandra. The blonde one is the computer expert. The blonde one. Oh, falling out, eh? They are all as one. And there are others, but these are the main three. They want the attention of being heroes, freeing Luke. It's all... Wait. What the fuck does Sandra want then? The fuck does Sandra want if she doesn't want attention and the glory of fucking freeing... Anyway, sorry. It's all the supporters that do the groundwork. Agreed. Well, Jem, Nikki and Fiona, you can't stop me from speaking the truth on my own page, letting everyone know the truth. Yous have destroyed it all. Don't look to others to blame. Be accountable for once. Put your hands up. These photos I took at the last protest, the girls were happy to have them taken, of course. Why the fuck would they not be? And shame on the admin from the group that went along with us. So before we go any further, let's just tackle that quickly. So, none of this behaviour is new. Fact. This behaviour was going through the groups from the start. Comments were controlled, people were banned, people were not allowed in. And can I just say as well, like, I know the reason for people not getting let in, for having like a new profile or not having a profile photo, but then you're just denying yourself followers. There's certainly got to be trolls. There absolutely is going to be trolls, but there's no guarantee that someone who has had a Facebook profile for 3 years and has their own photo isn't going to be a troll. So it's a strange way of thinking, but that in itself I think is probably a way of avoiding hard questions as well. It's just the way it is. People say trolls, but is it really a troll-like behaviour to call somebody out for telling a lie? Because that's what I get called, a troll. But the reality is, you can call me a troll all you want. You need to actually, as a game, argue the point that I'm making. It's not about me and my behaviour, it's about the point that I'm making. And you have to argue that point. Otherwise, the whole idea of debate is a fallacy, and it's really just a mission for some ad hoc ad hominem. That's all it is. You're not actually addressing the points. I suppose that's really a Scott Forbes thing, isn't it? But these guys are just as bad, because what they do is skirt around it and avoid it all. So that was kind of Kath's, post there in terms of what she was making everyone aware of. Now, with that as well, that obviously kicked up a little bit of a stir, didn't it? And there was quite a lot of replies within that. Now, I'm not going to go through them all, because at the end of the day, I would be here all fucking day. Before I go on to the group's reply and statement, there was one I wanted to point out, one comment, and it was from Lorraine. Oh my god, what's happening? Can't believe Luke has a bird on the campaign plugging for cash. I thought he had more sense from past errors with females. Strange statement. I really thought he had a few good guys, male ex-cons, guiding him, keeping him wide, as well as Sandra Lean and Scott from a tight, trustworthy circle. Whoa, how fucking wrong you were. I hope to God this is brought to Luke's attention immediately. I don't want to be part of a group with a corrupt admin. Therefore, I won't be buying or donating anything else until we have word from the horse's mouth what's going on. Or what's going down, sorry. Really can't believe some daft woman playing with fire around the campaign. He doesn't need a girlfriend while he's on the inside, especially one who is stepping outside her lane. Plenty birds or fish, whatever way you look at it, women will be falling at his feet when he's out. Someone get a word in his ear, preferably a man. Like that makes any fucking difference. Jesus Christ, well that's a different argument for a different day. Anyone have his email? prison number I used to email years ago. Hope he's no blinded with feelings for a bird and calling silly shots that could be detrimental to his campaign. I'm leaving the group if there are no playing the game. And that's kind of like, I wanted to read that one out because it's a longer one, but it is the sentiment of quite a lot of people basically saying, you know, I'm kind of done. I don't know who to trust, so I'm done. Morag, one of the women, had went on to say that she would still support Luke, she would still attend, protests. And then she said, so Sandra is out after all she's done. That's not right. Luke's choice seemingly too. Think I might be out now too. If Sandra had done for me what she has done for this case, I'd be so grateful. I owe her big time. This just throws a whole new dimension on this now. Oh well, won't have to leave my hometown at 5 AM and not get home till 1 AM the next morning now for protests. The last time in Edinburgh cost me £489 to stay 2 nights for the protest too. I didn't mind paying it, don't get me wrong, and I went to every protest with a new banner every time too. So, another person that I don't agree with, because at the end of the day she thinks Luke Mitchell's innocent, but you're spending nearly 500 quid to attend a protest because of the trust that she had in the group and the group leaders. Again, I think it was misplaced trust. I don't want to keep on doing told you so's, but at the end of the day, these are the stories of the people that have been used, abused and lied to. They won't see it. They're not going to see the fact that it was all built on bullshit that right now. I mean, some probably will, but there are, that takes quite a lot of rewiring and refocusing to see where you've been taken advantage of. And I don't think everyone will, because at the end of the day, there are a certain amount of people, and I don't mean any of the people I spoke about now because I don't know them. I've not had interaction with them, but there are people that have had interaction with. They've got fucking smooth brains, man. There is no way they are seeing the light. And actually, they argue against it, like I said in the previous video, saying that the experts on the stand were wrong because they know better, apparently. So yeah, that's, as I say, smooth brains, but there are a lot of people that'll be able to rewire, and some of these guys will be that, and some will still be Luke Mitchell supporters in the background, but it's all built on a lie, and it's all starting to come crumbling down. So let's have a little look at one more thing, and then we'll have a look at the group statement from the Luke Mitchell support group. On another post, the discussion about donations started. Nikki Brendan, who's one of the people that the photos that were shown, said that every penny raised via online donations is here in the independent treasurer's account, untouched. All other monies raised prior to November 2023 are in Sandra Lean's hands. If you would like any money raised from football cards, you can PM me your proof of transfer and we'll get sent back over to you, and you can give it back to anyone who donated to you. And there we go, see some total funds there that's in the independent treasurer's account. Yeah, the independent treasurer's account. Who believes that? Hands up. I don't see any fucking hands. One thing that I would say, all monies raised prior to November 2023 are in Sandra Lean's hands. Why? Why does she have all the money that was raised before November 2023? Why was that not just simply passed over to the Independent Treasurers Fund? Why did she keep it? Does Sandra want to tell anybody why she's kept that money? Does she think she deserves it? Why do you think? Why do you guys not do anything to get it? Seems odd. Seems almost like untrustworthy nonsense, wouldn't you say? But obviously £3,013.28 total funds there raised since November 2023. How much has been raised in total then? If that's the amount that's been raised since November 2023, what's this money being used for? Now, I always say that obviously, people are skimming for the top, but there's more to that. Let's go and keep going, because this gets even weirder. So Kath had replied though, you know exactly how much I transferred over. Proof I do have, of course. Others have asked about money they have given. All of a sudden yous have gone quiet. Luke's loyal supporters deserve answers to their questions. So people are asking for their money back. There you go, How much was raised, guys? How much was raised? I mean, somebody will probably be able to do some maths, but for November 2023 till now, we've got $3,000. How long has this con been going? That's not even including book sales. But that's insane. So, yeah, that conversation started. And I think what really happened was there was even more of a falling out and a mood from the group admin. So we had Rachel jump in. And I will say here as well, the statement later on that I'll go on to read from the group, I believe was written by Rachel as well, just because of the way she speaks. And there's so much Sandra in what Rachel writes as well. So much. You can tell that it's like what do you call it? Having a Padawan or whatever the fuck they call it in Star Wars. So you got like your wee junior. Rachel's definitely got a lot of Sandra on her. But she doesn't even notice it, I don't think, because she probably doesn't. She's not a big fan now. We're going to show why. But same with Kath, I suppose. There's quite a lot of kind of word in the way Kath behaves is quite Sandra as well. So she does have infect these people as well. Let's look at Rachel's statement though, how she coped with the onslaught from Kath. She said, "It's really horrible to see you use a personal fallout with one of these girls to try and ruin Luke's campaign. These are girls are Luke's friends. Alright. The ones that take his mum to visit him. You know fine well that nothing they do is for attention, and that's exactly why you've decided to put their pictures here, because you knew it would hurt them. I spoke to Luke last night, and he is disgusted that you are spreading his personal business online like this, an attempt to smear good people. Just take a stop out. Your group's behaviour towards the Jones family is fucking abhorrent, and for you to have a problem with Kath speaking her mind about a corrupt committee, then I mean this is just fucking smacks of hypocrisy, Rachel, you're going to be one that's going to fucking annoy me now. Ugh, this bullshit. Anyway, carrying on. You used to call them Sandra's angels, and were all too happy to be driven to hospital appointments by Sandra in the car that she was generously loaned by one of these girls. Oh, she's so fucking altruistic, isn't she? A Facebook group has no bearing whatsoever on Sandra's legal work on Luke's case, and any dispute between Sandra and Luke is their business. I thought you were Sandra's friend too. Why are you sharing her business online? Unless she knows exactly what you are. Sorry, I lost where I was there. She knows exactly what you are doing, trying to pass the buck onto these girls who have done nothing but look after her, making sure she got to protests, loaning her money to fix her bus, and loaning her cars when the bus was off the road. So that speaks to the fact that apparently Sandra Lean was absolutely skint. So how did she manage to revamp that bus then, guys? How did she manage to get it all ripped out and redone if she was struggling to keep it on the road? Fucking come on. Luke's friends are not responsible for the mouldy, damp, ruined state of the case files that Sandra held in storage, nor are they responsible for the false hope of being out by Christmas that Sandra gave Luke.
Drink it in, man.
So we have mouldy, damp case files. It's all Sandra's fault, and she was promising Luke that he'd be out by Christmas. We don't know what Christmas, but right. It's been difficult to arrange another protest with all the gossip and rumours that are dividing people right now, and it's heartbreaking to see someone like you adding to that. I hope that's not my fault, guys. Oh, these gossip and rumours. I hope that's not my fault. Oh, sorry. I do know that these girls worked damn hard to organise the previous protests and pop-ups, and they appreciate each and every single one of you that turned out, and Luke does too. What a fucking pile of shit. There's so much in there, isn't there? Difficult to arrange another protest with gossip and rumours. Gossip and rumours have been going around for years. You've never had a problem doing it before. It was you guys that was causing the gossip and rumours. And you're still doing it, it's just because of your own infighting. But that is just a lame cop-out. There's nothing stopping you for doing a protest if it was just and if you had the means. But you've not got a spokesperson now. What are you going to do? Get that guy that was outside the court screaming into a megaphone? Does he not realise that that's the whole point in the fucking megaphone, is to make your voice loud? Look Millicent.
Look, Millicent! Look!
And Luke's friends are not responsible for the mouldy, damp, ruined state of the case files. There's one. I mean, this you kind of have to pay attention to what's all being said here, because they're going to go on to play softly and try and like make out that it's amicable, but it's fucking not. But we'll get into that. Kath had a brilliant response in the fact that it took a day to write it. You don't get it, do you, Rachel? Your pick was meant to be up there too. You belong beside them. I am my own person. I speak for myself. I do not need anyone else's permission, thank you very much. I have fallen out with them. They tried to control what I say. I decide what I say and when. But I still say that you're being influenced by Sandra, Kath, but you probably don't see that. Your friends are destroying the campaign and love to lay blame at anyone's feet as long as it's not theirs. I put my hands up. I did think they were Sandra's angels. That's before I realised what they were all about. Asking all supporters to do all the work on the ground, and they take the glory for it. Yep, I'll agree with that again. I'm not telling any lies, so there's no smearing coming from me. Conflict of stories. Do you not think about the money? I thank you, Rachel, for publicly letting the public know that Sandra did not have a bolt, no money. Otherwise, she wouldn't have accepted a loan from the girls. I really didn't trust Sandra with money, by the way, reading some of this. Your friends like to suggest Sandra is holding the money. Thanks for clarifying that one. Well, she is holding all the money from before 2023. Why are you just ignoring that part? Sandra was the one at protest that did speeches. Yeah, and what does? Anyway, others were hiding behind the banners, but she's the face of it. She was always the face of it, and she wanted to be the face of it. Don't pretend she didn't. I don't have to speak on Sandra's behalf, but you fucking are. She can do all that by herself if she wishes to do so, but she obviously doesn't, because she's not said a word about any of this. And she really needs to, especially given some of the stuff that you guys are talking about between yourselves. Nobody, including you, can decide or control what I put in my own posts. Truth hurts, eh? Probably does, to be honest with you, Kath. That probably did hurt a wee bit. I know you'll be listening to this, because I know that you quoted some of my videos in one of your posts. So I know you'll be listening to this. You are being taken advantage of by Sandra. You absolutely are. I'm sorry to say it, but that's the truth. And you always have been. You have just got different flavour of control now. There are some people that have rallied against it because they've realised that they've been taken advantage of. There are some people who have walked away because that's not the way they're built. They don't want to deal with the stress, and they definitely don't want to deal with the bullying and the lies. And then there's other people who will try and take over. Now, that's obviously, they're still influenced by Sandra, and they're still of the same behaviours. Like I say, the whole policing of the group was not a new thing. So do you think that saying that it wasn't Sandra's choices and everybody was doing things behind her back, that's not going to fly? That doesn't pass the smell test. Absolute bollocks. Sandra's been controlling this from the start. These guys have just now took up the mantle, and they might have a wee bit more control, but at the end of the day, it's just the same thing. It's all misdirection, it's misinformation, disinformation, and fucking lies. and what they're going to do now. I'll go into saying, we'll read the statement, but essentially, and for me, it's just going to be an attempt at a cash cow, but where does the money go? We'll get into that. So let's read the statement from the group. And one other thing that I want to tackle, but this is really just like an absolute dump of information here to see more to see the fact that, as I've been saying for ages, none of these guys are really in it for even Luke Mitchell. They're not. They're in it for themselves and what they can get from it. The notoriety, whether it be money, whether it just be a little bit power, a wee bit control, and the thrill of taking over the group like some fucking military operation. Sad ass bastards. And one thing I would say, there was a guy, Stuart Henderson, who he's actually appeared on a podcast. He was backing Rachel, so there you go. There's the faction splits some more. Stuart's a diehard supporter of Luke, but I don't know where his allegiance lies. He's kind of got more faces in the town clock, really, to be honest. And he's a group expert, but an expert absolutely fuck all, man. Actually, go and put a wee bit of his what do you call it, podcast appearance on the Fly Fifer, I believe it was. Here.
I came down to do some shopping, and I had it wasn't a wrist t-shirt, but it was a Luke Mitchell one, and I was at the bank, and I heard behind me, oh, Luke Mitchell t-shirt, and I'm like, here we. And I turn around, and there's these two people doing like some sort of charity work. You know, whatever charity it was. And this guy was talking to me, and he said, "Oh, the Luke Mitchell case and that, eh?" And I spoke about, there was certain people in the case, right? And I was about them, eh? And he goes, "Well, I'm from the village, I ken the guys."
Right.
And mentally at first I went, and one of the things, I mean, you can mention names, eh?
Listen, I would. It's entirely up to you.
Well, I'll say.
I'm not guiding you in any way with that.
No.
If it's detrimental to Luke, please don't. I would say. If it doesn't matter, then it's up to you.
I'll say one of the moped boys.
Right. Okay.
I'll say one of the moped boys.
Right. Okay. Perfect.
And I goes, well, he goes, well, I can say his name of one of the moped boys, right? I'm thinking, this is
a bit close to home.
This is quite interesting. And I goes, well, what does he say about it when he's asked? And the person talking to me goes, oh, he says he's got nothing to hide, and he'd tell the police everything. And I'm thinking to myself,
of course he's going to say that.
Of course he's going to say that, you know. And I've got Stocky Man. Like, he knows who Stocky Man is.
Right. Okay.
Right. And I don't know how well I can't remember how well he knows. It was a while ago. he knows him. I know who he is. And I said, would you be surprised if it came out the Stocky Man was the killer? And he goes, yes and no. So I found that a bit. But to be fair, I didn't know how to take it, because I mean, this guy knows, well, Stocky Man. I don't know what degree.
Yeah.
You know, but I always found that quite interesting.
Oh, did you? Aye.
So that just shows you the level of intelligence and how you can manipulate and have someone believe that story is absolute bollocks. Please Someone say how that makes that valid. I speak to somebody miles away about something and they just happen to know somebody and they, oh my god, that is just ridiculous. And I actually saw another post as well where where he fell over the wall when he went to the crime scene, and I just thought it was even funnier because claiming to be an expert on the case and watch all the stuff, then you would know that on many occasions Scott Forbes and Sandra Lean have said that you don't have to go over the wall, there's another wee gaff along, you can just walk in. You're a fucking fat ass fella in the wall. So, let's read the statement that was put out by Luke Mitchell, page Luke Mitchell and Jodie Jones, who got justice. The campaign update, protest and fundraising. Throughout the course of the campaign, our team has constantly prioritised the fight for justice for Luke and Jodie. We remain focused on raising awareness about Luke Mitchell's fight to clear his name and bring true justice to Jodie Jones. We do not engage in rumours, speculation or personal attacks. Lies! If you're spreading Sandra Lean or Scott Forbes words at any point, then you're dealing with rumours, speculation and personal attacks. So right off the bat, that is bollocks. Unfortunately, with the current gossip surrounding campaign leaders and threats from people of turning up to the next protest to cause trouble, we feel it's not safe to organise another protest just yet. Let's tackle that. Current gossip surrounding campaign leaders, it's always been there. Threats from people turning up to the next protest to cause trouble. Where? Absolute nonsense, that is just a lie. There is no threats, and I keep across all of this. No one's saying that they want to come to the next protest to cause trouble, because there is no other fucking protest, so how would that be possible? You've not even announced anything in the works or just thinking about, so crap. Prior to November 2023, funds were managed by Sandra Lean, who can provide proof of expenditures, including receipts for campaign equipment, including speakers and power banks, as she mentioned on her YouTube channel. PA systems more than speakers, but whatever. It doesn't equate to what's been raised. We've already saw how much was raised between November 2023 and now. That doesn't fly. Carrying on. Due to concerns raised by some supporters, we implemented a new process in November 2023. An independent treasurer, not part of the immediate campaign, now manages all funds in a secure account. Nonsense. And if there is someone that's not, how are they not involved with it? Who do you know that's taken that? This is so sly and untrustworthy. And if you can't see that the fact that money is one of the most important things, and they could easily just give enough detail about what's there and who's dealing with it, but they even skirt around that. Just untrustworthy. This ensures transparency and accountability. There is none. We don't know who's accountable. How's there accountability if it's a fucking person that no one knows who it is? That is bollocks. Our group admin Nicola accepted donations directly from supporters to maintain the treasurer's independence. She then immediately transferred all funds to a secure holding account. Come the fuck on, guys. The funds raised so far are £3,013, which there is waiting to be used, and only purchase made for the donated funds was $44.99 for flyers from Vistaprint for the April 14th protest. These flyers were distributed to supporters to help spread awareness. We can provide documentation for all donations and expenditures for tax purposes. So that doesn't include the flyers from earlier on that we read about. So we are immensely grateful to everyone who has turned up to the protest, shared the flyers on social media and done their bit to raise awareness. And we know Luke is too. Your support is important. There would be no protest without all of you. God damn it, guys! If this doesn't get the hairs in the back of your neck up, and you're just thinking what's going on here, then my God, I've got a bridge to sell you. So going on, they said the legal fight. To be absolutely clear, as admins of Facebook group, we don't work on legal aspects of the case. We are not registered lawyers, and we have no say. Although some of us are friends of Luke and his mum, we have no say on the autonomous decisions Luke makes. And after working with Sandra for 20 years, he knows better than anyone what goes on in the background on his fight to clear his name. And he has the right to decide who can effectively work with him. We can only support his autonomous decisions, and that we have no sway over his legal team's decisions. There's a very telling word in that. That's autonomy. You remember rightly, going back, can't remember how long ago it was now. In fact, actually, it was just after the recordings of Luke came out, where he was talking about his situation. Illegally, shouldn't have been communicating those ways. But after that, it was Sandra claimed to have full autonomy given to her by Luke to tell everyone everything. All this, of course, while not sharing any details about the independent review. Anyway, I tell everyone everything. So, carrying on, sorry. In our effort to raise awareness, group members have met with some high-profile MSPs, experts and independent legal professionals willing to speak out about this miscarriage of justice, and some really positive things are on the horizon, and work that should have been done already is beginning. Anyone recognise that? That's the Sandra Lean technique, the tell them something's coming and hopefully they'll stop asking questions technique. Big update on the update. Can't tell you too much about it just now. Hold your horses, guys, we'll tell you all about it. Luke has legal representation, those who are fully registered members of the Law Society, and has officially withdrawn all permissions to act on his behalf from Sandra Lean. So Sandra's gone.
And now the end is near.
Right? Stop that. It's silly. Very silly indeed.
Luke's not working with Sandra anymore. Luke has legal representation. I thought he had it before. And I like the little dig there, fully registered members of the Law Society. I hope you're paying attention to that sentence, Scott, because that's all about Scotty Forbes and his fake lawyer. So for some, this may come as a shock. For others, perhaps not. But please remember, Luke Mitchell and Jodie Jones are the priority, and this isn't a popularity contest between his support. Not one person is more important than Luke. Sandra has been one of the few people standing by truth and justice when no one else could for years, but she is no longer part of the legal battle. Through Luke's and his legal representation's choice. So the future of the campaign, we want to make it clear that this campaign and the fight to clear Luke Mitchell's name still goes on. And hopefully we'll be seeing you at a protest very soon. We don't care whether you're in this group or that group, or over an X or TikTok, raising awareness is what matters. Yeah. Anyone believe any of that shit? There was a comment on it. So Sandra's not doing any more live YouTube updates anymore. So she's not doing any. Yeah, that's what it does say. I like these. It was great to hear everything was moving along, and it says hashtag free Luke Mitchell. Then Nicola Brennan pops off here. Sadly, nothing has been moving along since the last appeal in 2014. Going forward, any updates that will be posted on here will be direct from Luke himself. Yes, let's tackle a couple of things here. So, the idea that nothing has been moving forward since the last appeal of 2014, again, this is things that you must have realised and must have known before now. So why the fuck are you using it as a reason and an excuse to turf Sandra out? Do we go into speculation station here? I think we have to. Luke Mitchell has realised that Sandra Lean is now bad stock. she is poisoning what he wanted to do. And Scott Forbes, remember, he was worried about what he was raving about. He's also got rid of him a little while ago, and Scott wasn't happy about it. Remember, we went into some things where he was talking about how he wouldn't be spoken to and all the rest of it, and he'd done so much for Luke and all this shit. So Luke's been turfing them to the side because they've made him look bad, and now he's going to use these ladies who come across as just ladies. It's just ladies. They're just ladies. They're just ladies helping out because they think Luke's innocent. And as far as using that group to directly update people on his case, so many questions about that. So many. Morally, legally, everything. They have actually been sharing precognitions, which they shouldn't be doing because it's highly fucking illegal. That was brought to my attention by none other than actually Scott Forbes, of all people. So the fact that they're saying they've got legal representation, how are they managing to do that if they're still breaking the law? That doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. I wish there was sense. Where did all this sense go?
I don't believe they have legal representation. I've never believed that anyone's had the legal representation. Scott Forbes had put up a post and tagged these little minions. Luke Group have now released a statement saying his lawyers have written to police to release all samples. They're imbeciles. There's over 300. There is nowhere to release them to. No forensic to test them. They're cover after being called out. Scott Forbes saying that people are being called out there, which is fantastic considering half your day spent getting called out. Scott had actually said as well, which, can I find that one? Wait a minute, give me 2 seconds here, because there was one thing that he had said about the admins, which I forgot really to say the last time round, so I do want to find it here. And it was around the behaviour of the admins. Now obviously we've spoke about how they were bullying, and I'll let you hear some of Gemma's fine words. So just, I'll put this up here actually. Scott Forbes, here's the post here. The group are now posting defence precognitions of Janine Jones, claiming it's her statements. The experts don't even know the difference and are acting unlawfully. Precognitions are not made public for 90 years, if I remember correctly. Then these experts. Now, keep pinning that, because I want to go back to that, Scott. I've got a wee point to say about that. To yourself. And yeah, so looking at what Scott had said, I'm desperately trying to find this here. I'm searching through so much shit. Why is this fucking... Yes. Look at the tabloids, except Daily Record. A lot of work went into bringing them on side, and they provided great headlines. Then Gemma threatened to burn Jane Hamilton alive. And the book, A Party in Jodie's Home Village, turning people against them. That's the person that's running the group right now, guys. The person that's threatening to set reporters on fire. The person that's willing to mow down any fucker. I mean, you guys gonna think about who you're following and what's going on here? So, the one thing, as I say, I wanted to put a pin in that was Scott saying obviously sharing precognitions being illegal and being, protected for 90 years. Then Scott went on, because again, I've said before, the guy's fucking unhinged and he wants to argue online. He doesn't care who the target is or what the outcome is. He'd actually put a post up. That might just be possible. Next, I'll publish extracts of medical records to establish when, where he was sectioned and how his psychosis started. Now he's talking about Joseph Jones, talking about sharing his personal medical records. It's illegal, Scott. You've just gave someone a telling off for sharing precognitions, which is against the law, and then you threaten to do the same thing. I mean, you just have to Google, can I share someone else's medical records, or UK law on sharing medical records? You're just saying that everyone else is not a legal expert, and then you're just going on to admit out loud that you're going to fucking break the law. You're an absolute unhinged idiot, mate. And if you want to argue with me online, fine. but break the law and you will. What's it? What's the saying? Fuck about, find out. Do it, mate. Because the first thing I'll do is take a wee screenshot of that, send it to the authorities, and I'm sure other people will as well. Go on. Go. Break the law, mate. Break the law. Because that'll show you up as the fake-ass lawyer that I've said you are for the start. Prove me right. Prove that you don't know anything about the fucking law. Prove it.
The last thing, before I have a look at your questions, the last thing is all these claims of bullying and manipulation, all of that, from myself and from the two main groups is nonsense. I know people don't like being told no, but sometimes you have to say no for good reason. So no, we can't do it that way. Can't tell you exactly why, because right now there's stuff going on behind the scenes, but we as a group or we as individuals are not going to do it that way because it could harm the case in the future. That's not bullying. That's not manipulation. That's truth. We're not doing it that way because it could hurt the case in the future. Yeah, people are going to say what they're going to say. There's nothing we can do about that. But you know, we don't bully, we don't manipulate. And by we, I mean myself, I mean the core teams, the two big teams, the TikTok groups. We don't bully, we don't manipulate, but sometimes we say no and people don't like it. Okay, that's the way it is.
I wonder if Sandra Lean would agree with that sentiment now that she has been bullied and manipulated and out of the door. Now, I just wanted to play that very quickly because that kind of brought back some memories, this idea that she was just denying all this stuff. Lo and behold, it comes out. But at the same time, Sandra Lean put out that update knowing it was a swan song then. She knew that she was being turfed out. And maybe, seeing as there's been no update since, that was known as the last update. You'll notice during that conversation she gets a little upset. I'm not one for making people cry or getting them upset, but at the end of the day there's a reason behind that. Now, is it the stress of being, abused from every side about her lies and all the rest of it? You know what, it's plausible. But I think it's far more likely that she knew that was the end for her. And this was all one last attempt to pull the wool over everyone's eyes. And there's a great statement in there where she says that no one bullies. Now, I think we can show that that's not the case, given some of the behaviours that I've shown and the voice notes, etc. But there was also, I don't know how it really was, to be honest with you, but the whole chat, she does have one in there about different legal experts, but there was a legal expert who had actually put up a post quite a while ago when he'd said, we were talking about the samples and the need for money. He'd asked, why was my offer to finance Luke's forensic deleted? Who deleted my offer? Why would anyone refuse funding that is desperately needed to help free Luke Mitchell? What exactly is going on? And he'd asked why. Now, we stand together for Luke Mitchell there, but why would you do this, Patrick? I don't get it. Patrick had, I don't know if he was looking for a little bit glory or just to get his head in the door, but I did see posts as well, one with Sandra, when all else fails, Sandra Lean, you can always tell the truth, which, to be honest, Patrick, I don't think she's ever going to do. Even going as far as to say, dear dim person, you need to be investigated by the police for all the lies you're telling your loyal following. She does, but again, I doubt she will be. But she does need to be investigated. But how did these guys deal with that? You know, these level-headed, willing to help, brilliant ladies. The reply was simple. Thanks very much for that. Why are you determined to bring bad press to Luke? Why? Your offer has not been removed, and you just made Luke look bad. What a fucking bampot. You're a menace up to no good. See, if you were serious about helping Luke, you wouldn't be trying to sabotage the work we're doing. So, that's, I believe, Fiona. A menace up to no good and a fucking bampot. Well, if you were serious about helping Luke, you wouldn't be speaking to people in such a manner under what is an official name for your group. So, bullying, manipulation and abuse. They don't do it though. I mean, I've showed you plenty of proof of them fucking doing it, but they don't do it. Yeah, well, as Sandra would say.
Make of that as you will.
So, all that, I mean, the thing is, even the big boy Stuart that fell over the wall, even him, during the time when there was a lot of questions being asked about Sandra Lean, he had actually put up a post. I stand with and by Sandra Lean and Freddie Gren. That's Gemma. I'm with them. They are truly fearless, compassionate, loving friends. They deserve complete respect and admiration. I'm not with people who ain't with them, and no need at all for these kinds to approach or try to talk to me at any protest. Just don't. Thank you. Oh, Stuarty, what the fuck do you think you're going to do about it, like? Really, mate? I did hear that you were quite aggressive during that campaign, during that protest, sorry. You'll probably know who told me because you were aggressive with them. So, yeah, you know that's true. But you stand by Sandra Lean and Freddie Gren. Fucking hell, mate, they don't even stand by each other anymore, so you're at a fucking loss. They are truly fearless. Where's Sandra Lean right now? Where had Sandra Lean been since November of last year? Until the update in March. Fearless, eh? Yeah? Hiding, Stuart. I could make loads of comments, but they'll just start getting personal about your intelligence, really, to be honest with you, mate, because you're fucking smooth-brained. And with all of this, you seriously run the risk of making yourself
look like a bit of a cunt.
And you don't want that. But you guys have really summed up quite a lot of their behaviours. Stuart, Fiona, all the rest of you guys, Gemma especially. And here it is, near the end of the video. I beat Sandra. She didn't get not an update on the update. This is an update within the update. Yeah, get your head around that. Whilst we were editing all this, I just shit hit the fan. Another screenshot quickly from Scott Forbes. I've just seen a film of 3 of them at SL, Sandra Lean's house today. One film in the streets, alley and back garden and house and doors. As 2 others approach her door, these people are seriously nuts, sad and bad people. So the group admins had went to Sandra Lean's house to film some stuff. I won't explain too much because wouldn't you know it, in a strange twist of fate, Stuart, who we speak about in this update, actually commented on one of my posts for the very first time, and Stuart was just full of information. So let's not do him a disservice, let's share Stuart's words. Sandra Lean was provided with an official mandate following her behaviour that all her permissions have been withdrawn from Mr. Mitchell. This included ample warning for the collection of all items pertaining to his case, as she has no legal rights to them. She knew the date and time for collection at 1200 hours on Saturday, 10th of August, as set by Luke himself on the 1st of the 8th, 24. She was directed by him to make available all materials to hand to the people holding the official mandate, giving permission to take custody of everything pertaining to his case to store. On his behalf, after she allowed irreversible damage to the case and case files. This was politely requested by Luke in an official letter. Sandra had installed a brand new camera device on her door to record the pickup herself, so she recorded them. She did not provide anything requested by Luke Mitchell but a PA system bought with campaign funds, and she is now breaking the law, withholding everything else that she no longer has right to access. People who don't know anything of the story shouldn't be posting half stories and nonsense online. Coming for you, Stuart, and that rant that you had in that podcast, that fucking cuts deep, mate. Sorry, so, hi Stuart. I actually did point out the post where he had said that he stands with Sandra Lean and Freddie Gren, but that reads like someone else wrote it, doesn't it? That reads quite official. Or they gave you an admin position now, Stuart? Is that what it is? But there you go. So they all went round to Sandra Lean's house and harassed her, and everybody filmed each other, which was fantastic, because it's all been about blaming people. That's the thing. Like, I mean, when this all first kicked off and everybody started falling out with each other, everybody wanted to blame Sharon. I remember that was all Sharon's fault. And even on the last video, there was a lot of people that wanted to bring up Sharon's name, even though that the ladies mentioned her. They absolutely did, but that's not what that was about. The fact that you took that from it shows me even more. There's always somebody else to blame, isn't it? Scott was to blame. Don't get me wrong, Scott continues to be his own fucking worst enemy, but he was the one that was causing problems with the case. Sharon was causing problems with everybody behind the scenes. Then who is it that's causing problems now? Well, it might be Gemma, because since we've been starting making this video, she seems to have disappeared as well. So is she still there? Well, she's still, you know what I mean? This whole thing is just a fucking mess. People backstabbing, having to disappear because of their behaviour makes other people look bad. But as I say, it was always about blaming people. And that's why, as I say, they tried to blame Sharon for the civil war that happened before, but look what's happened since. It's shown you that that's the thing. Well, not all, because I don't think the ladies that we spoke to and whatnot had any kind of dealings with this, but there was people behind the scenes that was always it must be their fault. And for a while that must have been Sandra, but then they turned that technique round on her, and it's all Sandra's fault. So now, I'm not one for feeling sorry for Sandra, I absolutely am not, but at the same time, harassing somebody, doing all this, filming 3 people going round, I don't care what Stuart says, I really don't. That's just strange behaviour, and you think maybe they would just arrange to meet in a neutral place instead, but I'm not here to solve your problems for you guys. And whilst we're here updating, we spoke about the fact that Scott Forbes was threatening to put up medical records, and wouldn't you know it, he did, didn't he? He broke the law. Now, I'm not going to show them, because that's still breaking the law, and I'm not that stupid, but yes, he decided that he would post a load of stuff, private medical records, like the absolute unhinged idiot that he is. That's a whole thing. I don't even know where to go with that yet. So that's obviously, legally he can be done. Simple as that. That's illegal. Whether anyone does anything about it or not, who knows? Let's wait and see. And one more update within the update. You'll forgive if I don't read this all out, I'll just kind of go through it. I've had enough of reading. Essentially, the We Stand Together for Luke Mitchell page put on hold. The guys are looking to rebrand it and help with all kind of miscarriages of justice, no longer really just be solely Luke Mitchell. The situation, I believe, I will read this, between the lies and the half-truths in the situation, not to mention the backstabbing and outright lies, we feel we can no longer be part of any of this, which is what I said. People that find out that they're part of a group that are taking part in all this kind of nonsense, then yes, they're going to back away, because at the end of the day they don't want to be associated with it. That's not why they got into it. They were there to do good, no matter, you know, I mean, at the end of the day, there's a certain percentage of people, which I've always said from the start, I think are here to do good, but I think they were conned by Sandra Lean. That's the update within the update. 3, I mean, quite big things, and there's things obviously that's ever evolving and we'll speak about probably in the future, but I did want to put them in here. I was, as I say, in the editing process of all this video, and this just came up and I thought I need to say something here as well, because I don't know when I'll do another one. So let's get back to past me, totally oblivious to all this stuff, and I don't know, I think the outro might be dated. I might do a bit of that, but let's go back to me who doesn't know anything about this. But there's one more thing that I want to point out, and it comes in the form of Sandra Lean and donations.
Finally, I don't know how many times I have to say this, I have nothing to do with fundraising. I've got no access to the funds, I take no part in the collection of the funds. That's all taken care of people who are not me. Okay.
So Sandra Lean's step away from all the funds came in November last year. Now, as we saw already, she still has all the money from before November, and you have to ask yourself why no one's done anything about that. Still super fucking suspicious. But it coincides with something. What is that, you ask? Well, I'm about to tell you. So, the Sandra Lean's actual, what do you call it, denial or rebuttal and concerned with the actual, what do you call it, the donations. Sorry, it went straight in my head. I'm looking at too many things here. It really originally came in November. An update on the 15th of November that she had on her page, where she went into the big birthday bash and how she was having nothing more to do with money. That was on the 15th of November. What came on the 7th of November, do you think? What came on the 7th of November? And what came on the 27th of October? Two things. 27th of October and the 7th of November. My videos. So the 7th of November we did speak about some elements of the donations and what was going on. And the one before that, the one on the 27th of October, that was a video called Out to Launch, where we basically went through every single grift that Sandra Lean has had since this thing started. Our forums, our charities, and everything else. And then, bang, she had nothing more to do with money, and it was all getting dealt with by someone else. Ain't that fucking coincidental?
Make of that as you will.
So the reality is, all that was just lip service to keep everybody quiet. The money thing needs to be answered, and I know some people might think, why is that? Well, what the fuck do they need money for? If they've got legal representation and legal aid, they don't need it for testing samples. Sandra Lean's kept most of it, so they obviously don't need it if she's still got it in her bank account since November. Plenty of time to fucking transfer it, guys. People aren't asking these questions. They're just like, alright, well, that makes sense. And as for trying to make out that Sandra Lean has no money, there's another post that I could go into where Kath goes on about how Sandra had to wear extra jumpers and all the rest of it. Piss off. I mean, really, she can still fucking get her van gutted out. She still smokes like a trooper, and she definitely loves a wine, considering some of her antics and the fact that, no offence, but she's aging like milk. So, yeah, it's all bollocks. They've painted her out to be this fucking innocent old woman. She's an evil, vile person who's made this whole, like, bubbling pot of nutters and smooth-brained idiots. But she got bit in the ass, really, at the end of the day. There was nothing she could really do to control the people that she's actually had underneath her, and now she's fucked. So, bye-bye, Sandra.
Bye, have a great time.
I hope you don't think that Sandra leaving would mean that I would go away, because that's not the case. And if anything, I'm going to step up a gear or two, because we're making a little ground, the tide is turning, and you guys are being shown up for the charlatans that you are. How's your group doing, guys? How's your group doing? Any new members recently? Thought not. So this is where we are. Sandra Lean is gone. She is not with Luke anymore. The person who knew the most about this case in Scotland, that, remember, it couldn't survive without Sandra. Remember she said that all those years ago? Couldn't survive without her. And she's gone. Now, there's a lot to kind of cover in here, and normally when I summarise things, I could just kind of ask a couple of questions. But there's so much here, isn't there? The mouldy case files. What the fuck? Now, people knew about that. That can't just be something that was a surprise to them. There's a lot of people that have been involved with this, and a lot of people have been around Sandra. So someone knew that these... And again, one thing I would say actually, just before I kind of go into more speculation there, is it true? Can these people be trusted about what they're saying about Sandra Lean? The reality is, I don't trust Sandra Lean as far as I could fucking throw her. I really don't. Same with Scott Forbes, but same with these guys as well. That's the problem. These guys have skirted around. Their statement is well worded, but full of fucking holes. You can drive trucks through the holes in their statement. Just so much contradiction in what they've said. The idea that they're trying to treat it nicely, and they're, publicly facing, but then on other posts just really ripping into Sandra for what she'd done wrong. But there it's nicely, because obviously it's all a fucking facade. It's all a lie. Publicly they have to give off the impression that there's unity and there's just a little bit of trouble and it's alright, we're moving on, guys, because we're here for Luke Mitchell and Jodie Jones. You're there for yourself. Gemma was there, God knows, was it maybe just to get back with Luke? Who knows? At the end of the day, if you want to be in a relationship with somebody that's in jail, fair enough, crack on. I'm sure everybody in the comments will have opinions. I probably share a lot of them, but no wasting my time going into that. It's just fucking weird, unhinged. And again, these people that are, they're looking for the ones that need, but the ones that have kind of got smoother brains to fool. So, this statement does a really good job of that, but I don't know if I trust anything they've actually said about Sandra, even though I don't trust Sandra. It's a fantastic way of working, guys. This is how you build a campaign on a miscarriage of justice, through lies, deceit, and then no one knows where to turn at a time when it all starts falling apart. Fucking well played. Well played.
Hey, right on. Give him a round of applause. Come on, give him a round of applause.
At the end of the day, I know a lot of guys want to just support Luke Mitchell. That's why they're here. I don't think it's an easy thing to be able to realise or kind of put together the fact that it's all been nonsense. I think that, as I said before, it takes a lot of time and a rewiring. But the smooth brains ones, they just, they're unhinged. The kind of usual crew that would be arguing the case have somewhat vanished from the people that usually interact with me online. A lot of them are too busy just popping off being racist right now, so leave them to that. There's that Venn diagram as well. The Venn diagram, essentially, this is not all Luke Mitchell supporters, so please, if you are an angry typer, don't be too offended. But there's an interesting Venn diagram between Luke Mitchell supporters, transphobes, and racists. Mainly because Scott Forbes falls under all of those, and any of his followers, a lot of them share his views. Scott Forbes is a total bigot. He's a misogynist as well, I've said before. He's a flat out arsehole, really, let's be honest. And one of these opinionated ones, he speaks his mind. That's not always a good thing. Some people could do with just fucking wiping their mind, to be honest. He's one of them. Absolute idiot, man. So yeah, where do you all stand on this? I mean, this is just a mess, isn't it? The accusations from what was supposed to be Sandra's friends, the back and forth, nothing from Sandra, nothing at all from Sandra. Why not? I think you've got some questions to answer. One of them being, why does she still have all that money? Where is it now? What's the guarantee that she's going to pass it over? Is she going to pass it over? Does she think she deserves it for all the work that she's done? And I thought we had legal representation. How do we suddenly have legal representation? And for all these people, again, that are willing to speak out, all these MSPs and everything else, that's just pie in the sky. That's just to keep Luke's supporters happy that there's something coming. The protests, we're going to be stopping protests because of threats and because of the rest of it. Absolute cop-out. Total bollocks. There was always the running the risk of somebody turning up and protesting the protest. It never stopped them before. It's only stopping them now because they haven't got the means to do it. Where's the speakers and whatnot as well, guys? You guys got that? I take it you're going to be firing around to Sandra's and picking it up in a van. No, her van though, because it needs fixed apparently. You all need to give her a loan of money. The money thing, I've said from the start, when money gets involved, at the end of the day, there's no need for money. They could have tested the samples. Luke is entitled to all that shit. Scott Forbes admitted it as well, even though Sandra Lean was still at the same time trying to raise money. These guys have been lying independently, and as I've been pointing out from the start, their lies don't match up. So, what do you think, guys? Is this the end of the Luke Mitchell support group? What do you think? Is it going to die away? There's a lot of people saying that they're not going to get involved anymore, and those were the more vocal ones online. So, again, do we reset the matrix? Do we get a fresh crop of smooth-brained individuals in so we can try and get some cash off them? There's more to come though, guys. There's more to come. I actually have another couple of interviews coming up. Seems we might have spurred some people into action about telling their story. So that's upcoming as well. And I'll be honest as well, it's not all the same thing. It's not group admins from these support groups. People more involved in, let's just say, with more to say. So that's coming. So let's do a wee wrap up. And let's let you get on with the rest of your day. So there we go then, that's that, and thank you very much for listening. There will be another update coming pretty soon. There's been more stuff to talk about, and I wasn't going back and doing this, but just get this one out and then I'll do another one. But these will start to slow down, and I'm going to concentrate more on getting transcribed finished. Not so many updates now that Sandra's away. Well, don't get me wrong, Scott's the gift that keeps on giving, but that man's just a moron. So, yes, give us a little subscribe if you want to stay up to date with that. Give this video a little thumbs up. Thank you very much for the great response from the last Killin time. You'll probably notice it's not up at the moment. There's a reason for that, and that is that someone didn't like their voice note being used. So someone put in a complaint. But there's ways of dealing with that, and we are dealing with that in the background. The video will go back up, but it will be slightly edited. But there'll be more about that in the future, because, okay, let's play that game. Including, I will spoil it, a little dramatic reading by someone. Well, thank them for doing that. And yeah, so give us a wee subscribe, give us a wee sarcastic thumbs up, comment down below. Do not be a Derek. Obviously put that link for fellowship down below as well. And thank you for taking the time to listen to this. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.
Bye, have a great time.
White lies turn to purple elephants. Don't try, you'll become irrelevant. You can't train a purple elephant. Give it a name, try to lock it away. But how can I